I don't think it's much of a hyperbolic statement to say that Spider-Man Brand New Day may be Marvel's last chance to recapture what made the MCU special.
It's the first time we've ever had fans on set for day one, so it's really exciting to share this with them. We ready?
For God's sake!
With Avengers Doomsday breadcrumbing their first teasers in front of fire and ash throughout the month of December and January, which I can't even lie is kind of a brilliant strategy in terms of marketing, despite, each teaser being leaked a week before on Twitter before even hitting theaters. The first teaser creating an almost universal collective sigh that can be heard all across the internet. I mean, to give my take on it, seeing Steve really just made me feel, well, nothing. It feels cheap and almost nullifies the entire arc that was created for this character solely as a marketing strat to get butts in the seats. But who knows, maybe it'll be done in a way that isn't a glaringly obvious nostalgia bait tactic for a movie that came out only 7 years ago. Hell, with the inclusion of the X-Men in this movie, maybe they'll even be bold and do a racist Steve Rogers that hates the X-Men for no reason. Then the other teaser was released that basically completely flipped everyone's opinion due to Thor showcasing an admittedly incredible monologue that was delivered majestically.
So that I may fight once more, defeat one more enemy, and return home to her.
Not gonna lie, seeing his short hair kind of got me hyped again and kind of reminded me of the feeling that we all got in 2018 when we saw... But with this teaser alone, it brutally exposes how Taika Threesome Waititi basically completely neutered Thor and undermines everything he went through with non-stop jokes, thus continuing this perpetual idea that Marvel movies are completely incapable of taking anything serious by undercutting any serious moment with a joke.
Please.
Taika.
I feel like if the Russos are able to redeem Thor as a character and are able to rekindle his relationship with Loki in a way that isn't cheap or predictable, while also being able to weave his adoptive daughter, which funnily enough is actually Chris Hemsworth's real daughter, which is kind of crazy. I just found out about this while making this video. But if they're able to take one of the best and arguably only good thing that came out of Thor Love and Thunder and make her character work within the means of Thor's character arc when it comes to family and the loss he has endured and utilize love as a main motivator for his actions, I think that alone can make the movie work, in all honesty. But yet again, I'm going to have to assume that his character is an extremely small part due to the overwhelming amount of characters this movie has. Not to mention that this movie has the almost impossible task to establish RDJ as a Doctor Doom as our main antagonist in a way that makes the audience forget that this casting choice is really just a $100 million ploy to reel fans into the theaters. I just don't know. I still think Marvel threw away the golden opportunity to do something amazing, bold, and completely shake up the formula by just creating an entire solo film dedicated to Doom. I mean, there's a reason why people still revere Thanos as one of the best antagonists in all of Marvel. It's because they gave him time. I mean, look at the amount of screen time he had and the buildup that was created that actually made his presence on screen revered and feared. So you can understand my frustration when they decide to underutilize their most iconic character and decide to throw him in a crowded and unfocused project for his first appearance. What could have been? I honestly will just make an entire video about this and what could have been once the full teaser comes out for Doomsday and once we get our first look at the titular character. But that now leaves us with the most recent teaser. Damn, I can't even lie, this one kind of touched me. Pause. But I'd be a liar if I were to deny that hearing Patrick Stewart again and then seeing Sir Ian McKellen on the screen as Magneto once again didn't have any kind of effect on me due to growing up watching these films. Seeing them in these roles will always be a treat, and I don't think anyone can really oppose that view. And dude, that shot of Cyclops is
fantastic.
Say that again?
You can't deny that this shot alone is incredibly impressive when it comes to making a live-action comic book accurate version of this character look supremely badass. But that's the issue, isn't it? Weren't we supposed to have a gratifying but albeit nostalgia-baity last hurrah of the Fox X-Men universe in Deadpool and Wolverine? Doesn't this kind of feel like it's going to undercut the future of the X-Men once it inevitably comes time to make an entire saga about them? I mean, I get it. The movie made a billion schmackaroonies at the box office, and that alone solidified the entire vision and doubling down of the multiverse saga for the MCU as a whole, even though in that movie itself, Deadpool making fun of the
Whole multiverse thing. It's not great. Let's just take the L and move on. I think it's been steadily great since Endgame.
But, you know, how else is Marvel ever going to make $1 billion? I mean, they don't have any character that draws the amount of people that they need to be able to make $1 billion, right? Yeah, I know. Sorry for the tangent. You're probably thinking, what the hell? This is supposed to be a video about Spider-Man. And to say to that, shit, I'm sorry. I'm kind of new here. I kind of ramble, but it's kind of the name of the channel. But now I'm going to say something kind of controversial here. I don't think Spider-Man No Way Home was that good.
Come on!
Wait. Before you take me to stake, I love Spider-Man No Way Home. I was there just like all of you on December 17th, 2021, absolutely geeking out of my mind and hooting and hollering and seeing our other two Spider-Man. Holy God, that was almost half a decade ago. Ugh. Anyways, like I said, I love the movie. I mean, hell, I watched it 3 times in a 2-day period. But as soon as it came out on streaming, it shows its cracks. I mean...
Okay. I'm Peter Parker.
It's not possible.
I am Spider-Man. Great, it's just some random guy.
Without the energy and the love that roared out of the theater, this scene really falls flat. And then the layers start to peel back. The movie then became a very, very obvious nostalgia fest that utilized the multiverse shenanigans to bring back our two beloved Spider-Man. And don't get me wrong, it's not the fact that I dislike the concept of bringing back these beloved actors back to their titular role. It's how it was done. Take example, in Spider-Verse, a movie that came out long before the multiverse saga was even in Kevin's hidden head. With that movie, it was done with such grace and, more importantly, purpose. It was done because the character that actually enacted the universe colliding was actually motivated by a tragedy that makes why he would do it in the first place make sense. Even though we know what Fisk is doing is objectively wrong and evil, we can't help but understand him on a very human level. Despite being the one that indirectly caused his wife and child to die, we as an audience in his shoes, with his resources and his ability to tap into the multiverse, is an extremely attractive decision that some of us would probably make. We then see the direct consequences of what tempering with something as consequential as the multiverse should be, with this universe's Spider-Man dying. That's weight. That's a strong narrative decision that shows the audience that this story has ramifications for characters' choices. Now, both of these films do share this aspect of dealing with the consequences of meddling with the multiverse, with Miles dealing with the loss of this world's Spider-Man and Peter losing his May. But the key differences between these two movies are the motivations. And then we transition to No Way Home. We have a supposedly hyper-intelligent Peter Parker asking an overly brash and arrogant Stephen Strange to cast a spell that has multiversal implications if the spell is somehow interrupted or changed midway. Like, dude, imagine if it went like this. So, Mr. Strange, I really need you to cast a spell that makes everybody forget about me being Spider-Man.
Oh yeah, sure, Peter. I have just a spell, but before I do anything, is there any additional questions you have?
Well, oh yeah, I do actually. Will a spell make everyone forget about who I am?
Yes.
Can I give you a list of people that will remember that I'm Spider-Man?
Yes, that's actually a really good idea.
Oh, okay. I want MJ, Ned.
What's it, Ned?
My auntie, Happy Hogan.
The wrestler?
And I think that's about
about it. Okie dokie. Any more questions? Nope. Okie dokie, let's do this. Look, I'm no scriptwriter and obviously have no idea the difficulties and challenges writers have to go through when writing scripts for a multi-billion-dollar company that loves to constantly intervene in every which way. But I really think there could have been a much better way to bring in Toby, Andrew, and most of the rogue gallery into the MCU, rather than Peter asking Strange to do a spell to make everyone forget he's Spider-Man, solely driven out of the want to go to college with his buddies.
But if they rejected you and you tried to convince them to reconsider, there's nothing else you can do.
When you say convince them, you mean like I could have called them?
Yeah.
I could do that?
Because remember, this mother hugger already lawyered up and fought off legal implications that was pressed onto him with Mysterio's death, with, of course, help from the the best lawyer in the universe.
I'm a really good lawyer. Heightened sense of smell.
I can imagine wanting to know a little bit more about that.
I digress. I kind of went on a massive tangent there. But if you made it this far and agree with anything that I've said or enjoy the video at all, maybe consider liking the video, maybe even subscribing. That would mean the absolute world to me. I've really enjoyed making this video and would absolutely love to continue making this type of content, so your support would be infinitely appreciated. Thanks. But despite my issues with No Way Home, I think it's universally agreed amongst all nerdom that the ending was basically perfection. Seeing Tom's Peter finally broke, not only monetarily, but broken emotionally, paying rent and actually sewing his suit himself, brought a little nerd tear to my eye. Also, this is a pretty damn big apartment, especially in today's climate and in New York. Is Peter selling webbed up feet pics on the side or something? Because this is spacey. But when I say broken emotionally, this Peter finally really goes through the journey of what it means to be Spider-Man. His version of the character has gotten the consistent yet fair criticism of not really being the Spider-Man we know and love. I mean, hell, even the movie is self-aware of that. But we finally see the arc that all Spider-Men go through. You know, learning the lesson of what it means to have power and choosing what to do with it. I mean, it was said here, kind of.
Look, when you can do the things that I can, but you don't, and then the bad things happen, they happen because of you.
So to give credit where credit is due, even though Jon Watts didn't represent the Spider-Man archetype in a traditional sense, after 3 whole movies, he was still able to implement this key aspect of the character, giving this version of Spider-Man a very unorthodox, albeit uniquely interesting origin story. Despite still mediocre swinging choreography, which I hope and believe will be fixed in Brand New Day, the ending really felt like a Spider-Man ending, not Spider-Boy, not Iron Boy Jr., Spider-Man. So even though I'm not the biggest fan of his movies, thank you, Jon Watts, for sending your version of Spider-Man off in one of the most true-to-character fashions possible. Fast forward a couple of years, divorced couple Disney and Sony stopped fighting on whether or not to keep our boys stuck in the never-ending multiverse gimmick. Sony's solely caring about the zeros at the end of the box office earnings, which is pretty ironic since each Sony Spider-Man adjacent project utterly failed and were travesties not only to their profit returns but to our eyes as well. Like,
hey, can you turn your music down, please? Because I'm having a really hard time.
Whatever.
Lost the pulse. I'm starting compressions now.
Ben, what are you even doing back there?
Oh, you want to come take over? I can drive.
She's not going room temp on my watch. The best thing about the future, it hasn't happened yet.
after months of speculation of whether or not Sony or Marvel won that custody battle, they finally came to an agreement, and the entire nerd internet let out a collective sigh of relief. Enter Chad. Destin Daniel Craig, director of one of the better movies post-Endgame. This movie has some of the best action sequences out of the entire MCU, on par with Winter Soldier's action, which is saying a lot. After his announcement, there was a lot of restrained excitement, even by me. But man, oh man, well, how the turntables. On August 2nd, everyone's excitement was turned up to 11. This suit alone is perfection. From the raised webbing to colors to the obvious and confirmed inspiration this Peter took from Peter 1 and 2, down to how the suit naturally folds, getting rid of that rancid taste I and everyone else has had from all the overly and egregiously done CGI done to the suits in the past. I mean, the first thing we get from this movie is an answer to a prayer we have
all had for years. This was only the first of many, many reveals that are slowly showcasing why this man was, destined to direct this movie. What? It's right there in the name! But seriously, everything that has came out of Glasgow has been non-stop generational aura-farming moments. From Spider-Man riding on top of a tank, trying to stop it, which is very Spider-Man PS4 coded, to him swinging practically with freaking explosions in the back done practically, to him swooping in to save kids. I swear if we get a new version of this scene, I will cry. I will literally cry.
No playing in the streets.
Yes, Mr. Spider-Man.
See ya.
Everything that has been released to this date has been nothing but positive reinforcement that the right man was selected for the job. Alright, look, to lay off the hopium for a moment, I still do have some concerns for this movie, especially with Sadie Sink's character, which is reportedly to be Rachel Summers, which would obviously have some kind of implications for the broader MCU narrative with her being the child of Cyclops and Jean Grey. And not to mention how the Hulk will be involved and what kind of role he will play. I really hope it won't be another Peter needs a mentor plotline, since we already had nothing but that from Tony Stark for almost an entire decade. I personally hope and believe that Banner will somehow revert to OG Hulk smash Hulk, due to the influence of what I can only hope is our main antagonist fault, which is hopefully Mr. Negative, aka Martin Lee, especially if they are taking heavy inspiration from the PS4 Spider-Man game. I think with a twist and some alteration to that story can bring a 10 out of 10 Spider-Man story to a wider audience that didn't get to play the game, while giving the gamers something fresh as well. But again, all speculation. Oh, I almost forgot. The freaking Punisher will be slinging his Punisher all over this movie, and it's going to be glorious. Look, if we can get like 20% of the absolutely quality dialogue we got from Matt and Frank in Daredevil Season 2, and even from Born Again.
He got life! How about old Foggy? He got life.
But between a jaded, no-nonsense Peter Parker and an insanely bloodthirsty Frank, it's going to be absolutely big! And for all the doubters that think Peter will be all,
Oh, yes, Mr. Castle. Sorry, Mr. Castle. Let me polish your gun for you, Mr. Castle.
no.
And I think what was really important to me and to Destin and to Tom is that we believed that the Punisher that could walk off of the Spider-Man set could walk onto the special set. I do believe that we achieved that.
Even with all those points addressed, there's still one glaring and worrisome part of the puzzle that seems to be missing. Look, I don't know how or if Spider-Man Brand New Day will address the events of Born Again with the big bad bald man now enacting martial law and banning all vigilantes. Yes, even...
We don't need a gun-toting vigilante who wears a skull on his chest, or a man who dresses in a spider outfit.
Don't forget the hyphen between spider and man.
8 years of this insolence.
Whether or not Born Again Season 2 resolves this conflict entirely before the release of Brand New Day, but with the season premiering before the movie, I think there is a possibility that we will not get any kind of Fisk and Spidey action, unfortunately. But hey, maybe they struck a deal behind closed doors and are going to surprise us, right? Right? But with all that being said, I can't deny this is the most hope I felt when it comes to a Marvel project in years. The hype for this movie alone is a testament that comic book movie fatigue really isn't real. It's a fatigue of mediocre films that are translucently disguised as commodities and products than actual stories that are wanted to be told by artists with something to say, utilizing these beloved characters as vessels to tell said stories. All I wanted, and I know a lot of people will agree with me here, is to have a Spider-Man story where it feels human. A story that actually tackles the traumas that this character has had to go through, to finally show how Peter is the Job of the Marvel universe. I'm no screenwriter and I have no real vision of what that could look like, other than the obvious visualatory things like practical swinging, practical suits, practical stunts, and explosions, rather than a CGI slop fest that has infested all of Hollywood movies, not just Marvel. I am looking at you.
But yeah, you probably can't tell, but I'm pretty stoked and I'm pretty optimistic about this one. How are you all feeling about this? Do you think this could be another Marvel is back moments? Let me know in the comments below. I mean, if you enjoyed my rambling or enjoy this type of content or into nerdy stuff like this, consider subbing and liking the video. That's really going to help me, especially with the algorithm, since this is legit my first video on this channel. And with that being said, I hope you guys have a good one. Thank you for watching. See ya.